Genghis Khan conquered more land in 25 years than the Roman Empire did in 400. His army defeated forces 3 times its size, crossed deserts that were considered uncrossable, and besieged cities that were considered impregnable. Every military that faced the Mongol Empire in the 13th century believed they could stop it. None of them could. The Mongols defeated the Chinese, the Persians, the Russians, the Poles, the Hungarians, and the Baghdadi Caliphate, the most powerful civilizations of their era, one after another, in sequence, without losing a campaign. In 1241, the Mongol army reached the gates of Vienna and then stopped, not because Europe defeated them, but because Genghis Khan's son died and the generals went home to elect a new leader. Europe was not saved by its armies. It was saved by a funeral. Now it's 2026. A U.S. Army Ranger battalion has been transported to the Mongolian steppe in 1220 AD, the peak of Genghis Khan's military power, the moment his empire is the most dangerous fighting force the ancient world has ever produced. 700 Rangers against 100,000 Mongol warriors, and Genghis Khan himself. The Rangers have M4 rifles, Apache helicopters, Javelin missiles, and night vision. Genghis Khan has the greatest cavalry army in human history, the most sophisticated battlefield communication system of his era, and 25 years of undefeated campaign experience. This is not a battle. This is the most unequal military confrontation in human history. Except it isn't, and here is why. The U.S. Army Ranger Battalion transported to the Mongolian steppe in 1220 AD consists of 700 soldiers, 3 rifle companies, a headquarters company, and a support element. Each ranger carries an M4 carbine with 210 rounds of 5.56mm ammunition, a Glock 19 sidearm, fragmentation grenades, and body armor rated to stop most projectiles, including arrows. The battalion has 12 Apache attack helicopters, 4 Chinook heavy-lift helicopters for resupply and medevac, 6 Stryker armored vehicles, and a fire support element with 4 M77 howitzers capable of hitting targets 25 miles away with GPS-guided rounds. Total firepower, sufficient to destroy a conventional army of 500,000 in a prepared defensive engagement. Against Genghis Khan's force of 100, 0 Mongol warriors, the numbers look overwhelming. The Rangers have one critical vulnerability that every military analyst identifies immediately when the scenario is presented: ammunition. The Rangers carried what they brought. There is no resupply from 2026, no logistics chain, no ammunition depot 10 miles back. When the last round is fired, the M4 becomes a very expensive club. The Mongols have an effectively unlimited supply of arrows. Each warrior carries 3 bows and 60 arrows, and the Mongol army travels with its own arrow production capability on the steppe. The battle the Rangers need to fight is not a long one. It needs to be over before the ammunition runs out. The first thing Genghis Khan does when the Rangers appear on the steppe is send scouts. He always sends scouts first. His intelligence network, the most sophisticated in the medieval world, using a relay system of riders that could transmit information 200 miles per day, identifies the Ranger force within 6 hours of their arrival. The scout reports come back describing things no Mongol scout has ever seen: metal vehicles that move without horses, flying machines that make thunder, soldiers in strange armor carrying weapons that kill at 500 meters with a sound like a crack of lightning. Genghis Khan receives these reports and does something that no other commander in history facing an unknown enemy has done as effectively. He believes them completely. He does not dismiss the reports. He does not execute the scouts for bringing impossible news. He calls his senior commanders together and says, "These are the facts. Now tell me how we fight them." The Mongol command council that convenes on the steppe to develop a battle plan against an enemy they have never seen and cannot fully comprehend is, by any military historical standard, the most adaptive command structure of the ancient world facing its hardest problem. The Rangers establish a defensive perimeter on a low ridge on the Mongolian steppe at dawn on day 1. High ground, clear fields of fire in every direction, the Apache helicopters on standby. The Ranger Battalion commander, a lieutenant colonel with 3 combat deployments in Afghanistan and Iraq, has studied the Mongol military doctrine in the 6 hours since arrival. He knows about the feigned retreat, the Mongol tactic of advancing, making contact, then retreating to draw the enemy out of their defensive position before turning and destroying them. He briefs his company commanders. Nobody advances off this ridge regardless of what they see in front of them. We hold position. We use the Apaches for standoff engagement. We make every round count. The first Mongol cavalry screen appears at 8 a.m. 2. Zuzone horse archers moving in a wide arc around the ranger perimeter at 600 meters, just beyond effective M4 range, probing the position. The rangers hold. The Mongol screen tightens to 500 meters. The rangers hold. At 450 meters, the battalion commander gives the order. The Apaches go up. The first Apache to crest the ridge line and acquire targets has never in its operational history faced an enemy that has never seen a helicopter. The 2,000 Mongol horse archers facing it have never in their lives seen anything fly that was not a bird. The reaction of 2-0 Mongol war horses to 2 Apache helicopters appearing 200 meters away at 6 a.m. is immediate, unanimous, and catastrophic for Mongol formation discipline. The first Apache engagement lasts 4 minutes and covers 3 square kilometers of steppe. The 30mm chain gun on an Apache fires 625 rounds per minute. The Hellfire missiles have a range of 8 kilometers. The 2-0 Mongol horse archers, who were the finest cavalry in the medieval world 4 minutes ago, are no longer a coherent military unit. The survivors, approximately 1,400 of the original 2,000, have scattered across the steppe in every direction as their horses, which have never encountered mechanized noise and muzzle flash at close range, have made their own tactical decision about the engagement. Genghis Khan, watching from a command position 3 kilometers back, receives the scout report of the Apache engagement in real time. His reaction is not panic, it is calculation. He has fought enemies with fire weapons before. The Chinese used fire arrows and incendiary devices. He has fought enemies with psychological warfare before. The Mongols used it themselves, driving prisoners ahead of their formations to demoralize defenders. What he is watching from 3 kilometers away is an enemy with a fire weapon, mounted on a flying machine that his horses cannot be trained to ignore. He identifies the problem immediately. He says to his commanders, "The flying machines are the key. Destroy the flying machines and their advantage is reduced." How do we destroy a flying machine? His commanders have no answer. Genghis Khan, for the first time in 25 years of undefeated campaigning, has a problem he cannot solve with cavalry. What makes Genghis Khan the greatest military commander of the ancient world is not that he never faced problems. It is that every time he faced a problem, he adapted faster than his enemy expected. He conquered China's walled cities by learning siege warfare from Chinese engineers. He defeated Persian cavalry by using Mongol horse archers in combinations the Persians had never seen. Every obstacle produced an innovation. The obstacle the Apaches present produces an innovation within 2 hours. Genghis Khan cannot destroy the flying machines with arrows. His scouts confirm the arrows do not penetrate the machines. He cannot outrun them. The machines are faster than any horse. But he identifies one thing the flying machines need that his cavalry does not: fuel. He does not know the word fuel. He knows the concept. The machines make noise and fire, and they need something to keep making noise and fire. He sends light cavalry in 40 separate groups of 50 riders, each fanning out across the steppe in every direction, not to fight, but to find where the flying machines land and what they take on when they land. It is, translated into 21st century military terminology, a reconnaissance in force designed to identify the enemy logistics chain. In 1220 AD, on the Mongolian steppe, Genghis Khan has just invented the concept of targeting enemy fuel supply without knowing what fuel is. The Ranger Battalion commander is watching the same engagement from the ridge and doing the same calculation Genghis Khan is doing from 3 kilometers back, except his calculation is about time. The Apaches have fired 40% of their ammunition in the first 2 engagements. At current consumption rate, the helicopters have enough ammunition for 3 more engagements of equivalent intensity. The ground forces have consumed 12% of their personal ammunition. The M777 howitzers have fired 18 of their 96 GPS-guided rounds. The battalion commander calls his fire support officer and asks the question both of them have been avoiding. What is our ammunition endurance if Genghis Khan commits his full force simultaneously? The fire support officer runs the calculation. The answer is 4 hours of sustained combat at maximum intensity before the Apaches are dry. 7 hours before the ground forces reach 20% ammunition, the threshold below which sustained combat becomes untenable. The battalion commander has a force that can destroy anything it engages. He has between 4 and 7 hours to end this before his technological advantage becomes irrelevant. Genghis Khan has been fighting battles for 25 years. He has never lost one. He does not know about the ammunition clock, but he is, through pure military instinct, developing a strategy that is functionally identical to running it out. Night is where the equation changes. The Rangers have night vision, PVS-14 monoculars that turn the Mongolian steppe at 2 a.m. into a green-lit landscape as clear as noon. The Mongols fight in daylight. Their cavalry tactics require visibility, the feigned retreat, the encircling maneuver, the massed arrow volley. All of these require the riders to see each other and the enemy simultaneously. At night on the open steppe, the Mongol army loses 60% of its tactical coherence. The Rangers lose none. The Ranger battalion commander makes his decision at sunset on day 1. He takes 200 Rangers off the ridge under night vision and moves them 4 kilometers west to a position behind the main Mongol camp. Not to attack, to observe. To map the camp layout, identify the command tents, locate the horse lines, find Genghis Khan's position. The Mongol sentries, experienced warriors who have been standing watch on the steppe for 25 years, are watching for movement they can see. They are not watching for men in modern camouflage, moving at 2 a.m. with equipment that turns darkness into daylight. The 200 Rangers reach their observation position at 3:15 a.m. without a single Mongol sentry detecting them. By 4 a.m. they have mapped the entire Mongol camp, including the position of the command tent where Genghis Khan is sleeping. The Ranger battalion commander faces the most ethically complex military decision of the scenario at 4:30 a.m. on day 2. His reconnaissance team has Genghis Khan's exact position. He has 2 Apache helicopters with Hellfire missiles 4 kilometers away. A single Hellfire strike on the command tent ends the campaign in the next 90 seconds. It also kills Genghis Khan, the man who will go on to create the largest contiguous land empire in history, whose descendants will rule from the Pacific to Eastern Europe, whose Pax Mongolica will open trade routes that connect East and West for the first time, whose DNA is carried today by approximately 16 million living people. The battalion commander is not a historian, he is a soldier. His mission is to neutralize the Mongol military threat. The most efficient way to neutralize it is sitting in his targeting system right now. He gets on the radio to his executive officer. He says, "I have the shot." His XO says, "Take it." The battalion commander looks at the targeting screen for 11 seconds. Then he says, "Negative. We do this the hard way." His XO says, "Why?" The battalion commander says, "Because killing a man in his sleep is not something Rangers do. Not even this man." His XO says, "He's killed millions." The battalion commander says, "I know, we do it the hard way." The battle that decides the campaign happens at dawn on day 3. The Ranger battalion commander has spent 36 hours doing what Genghis Khan has spent 25 years doing, learning his enemy, finding the weakness, developing the plan. He has identified that the Mongol army's greatest strength, its mobility, its ability to disperse and concentrate faster than any army of its era, is also its greatest vulnerability against an enemy with air power and GPS, artillery. A dispersed Mongol cavalry force covering 10 square kilometers of steppe is impossible to engage with infantry. It is a perfect target for GPS-guided howitzer rounds that can hit a 5-meter circle from 25 miles away. The plan is simple. The Apaches force the Mongol cavalry to concentrate. Their instinct when facing air attack is to mass and maneuver, because massed cavalry can change direction faster than dispersed cavalry. When they mass, the howitzers engage. When the howitzers engage, the cavalry disperses. When they disperse, the Apaches re-engage. The cycle repeats until the Mongol formation loses coherence. It takes 3 hours. At the end of 3 hours, with 34% of Apache ammunition remaining and 71% of ground force ammunition intact, The Mongol army on the Mongolian steppe in 1220 AD has ceased to function as a coherent military force, not destroyed, not annihilated, simply unable to mount a coordinated attack against a defended position. Genghis Khan, watching from his command position, makes a decision that he has never made in 25 years of campaigning. He withdraws. Genghis Khan's withdrawal is not a retreat in any sense his enemies would recognize. He pulls his force back 20 kilometers, re-establishes his camp, and convenes his command council. The council meets for 6 hours. What they discuss, reconstructed from the logic of Mongol military doctrine, is not whether they lost. The concept of losing does not exist in Genghis Khan's framework. What they discuss is what they learned. The flying machines need something to fly. The thunder weapons need something to thunder. The enemy soldiers are few, 700 against 100,000. The enemy's advantage is entirely technological, and technological advantages have limits. Given enough time, enough space, and enough patience, the three things the Mongol steppe provides in unlimited quantities, the enemy's thunder weapons will go silent. Genghis Khan's plan for day 4 is not to attack the Rangers. It is to wait, to send small groups of 10 riders to probe the perimeter constantly, forcing the Rangers to expend ammunition on insignificant targets, to keep the flying machines in the air constantly, burning their fuel on nothing, to let time and the steppe do what 100,000 cavalry could not. It is, in 21st century military terminology, an attrition strategy designed to exhaust a technologically superior enemy. In 1220 AD, on the Mongolian steppe, Genghis Khan has just invented asymmetric warfare against a superpower. He has been in contact with the Rangers for 48 hours. The U.S. military versus Genghis Khan scenario has one answer that every military historian and every war game simulation reaches independently. The U.S. military wins the battle. Every firepower advantage is too large, the precision too great, the night vision too decisive for any 13th century force to overcome in direct engagement. But the scenario has a second answer that is less comfortable. The U.S. military wins the battle, and then faces a problem the battle cannot solve. 700 Rangers on the Mongolian steppe in 1220 AD with finite ammunition, no resupply, and an enemy who controls every square kilometer of terrain in every direction are not an occupying force. They are a very well-armed island. Genghis Khan cannot defeat them in battle. He doesn't need to. He needs to outlast them. And outlasting enemies is the one thing the Mongol Empire did better than any force in history. The U.S. military has better weapons than every army that ever existed. Genghis Khan had something that better weapons cannot replace: a civilization built entirely around endurance, mobility, and the patience to wait for an enemy's strength to become their weakness. The Rangers who held the ridge on the Mongolian steppe in 1220 AD and never ran out of ammunition won every engagement they fought. The question the scenario leaves open, the question that makes it worth asking, is what happens on day 8 when the last Apache goes dry in 100. Soon Mongol cavalry are still out there on the steppe, patient as the grass, waiting for the thunder to stop. Subscribe, because next video we send the U.S. military somewhere even more dangerous. And this time they're going without the helicopters.